So, me, Farid and Humaira is going to talk about thermal pollution and noise pollution. Do you guys know what is thermal pollution? Well, thermal pollution occurs when the temperature of a body of water suddenly increases or decreases due to human action or natural processes. What about noise pollution? Noise pollution refers to the unwanted sound or vibrations that disrupt the natural balance. There are many causes of thermal and noise pollution. First causes of thermal pollution is soil erosion. These causes contributes to the rise of water bodies. This phenomenon can cause them to become more vulnerable to the effects of high temperatures. Next causes is deforestation. Trees and plants help to prevent sunlight from reaching the water bodies. These causes occurs when trees and plants are destroyed. Meanwhile, causes of noise pollution is industrialization. Aside from the big machines, various equipment such as generators are also used to generate loud noise. Last causes is transportation. A large number of vehicles on the road produces high noise that leads to situation where a normal person loses the ability to hear properly. There are good and bad effects of thermal and noise pollution. As for thermal, the good effect is this pollution can be beneficial to bacteria, algae, and some large animals. They tend to get excess heat and warmer water. The bad effect is loss of biodiversity. Organisms that are not used to warmer water will shift their base to some other places. Whereas, bad effect of noise pollution can cause stress, fatigue, depression, which will harm both human and animals. It also can affect people's ability to focus, which will lead to low performance.
How to overcome the noise and thermal pollution? Okay, what we have here. First, we can turn off appliances at home and offices when we're not using it, such as a continuous on fan or lamp, and when we're not using it, we can turn off. Then we will shut the door while using noisy machine like vacuum, drilling, so we can reduce the sound effect to be exposed to surrounding. Then we can use earplugs when we at noisy place. We can use earplugs to reduce the sound. Okay, next we have lower the volume. Why we lower the volume? Like when we watching TV or listening to music, we can reduce the noise rate and reduce the noise pollution. Okay, then we can stay away from the noisy area like industry or construction sounds or noisy. We can go away, don't stay at there. Okay, then we can plant green trees, and when it grow up, it will reduce the sound pollution because it will absorb. We can absorb the sound using the tree. Okay. Then in scientific technology or innovation, we can make device or technology that produce lower sound, like driller with lower noisy rate, that will help decreasing the noise pollution, and we can make some innovation in order to make our daily life better.
Okay, since the noise pollution has been discussed, let us now talk about ways to overcome thermal pollution. One of the simplest way to overcome thermal pollution is by creating cooling ponds. Cooling ponds or reservoirs are the simplest methods of controlling thermal discharges. In cooling ponds, heated effluents on the surface of water maximize the dissipation of heat to the atmosphere and minimize the area and volume of water. This is the simplest and cheapest method that cools the water to a considerably low temperature. However, this method alone is less desirable as well as inefficient in terms of air-water contact. The next method is having cooling towers. After using water from water sources for cooling purposes, it is subsequently returned to the water body after passing through the condenser, which is termed as the cooling process. Therefore, cooling towers are designed to control the temperature of water to make the cooling process more effective. Cooling towers are mainly used to dissipate the recovered waste heat to eliminate the problems of thermal pollution. Other than cooling pond and cooling towers, artificial lakes are also made to overcome thermal pollution. Artificial lakes are man-made water bodies that offer a possible alternative. The heated effluents may be discharged into a lake at one end, and the water may be withdrawn from the other end for cooling purposes. The heat is eventually dissipated through evaporation. However, these lakes have to be rejuvenated continuously. Lastly is water recycling. Industrially treated water can be recycled for domestic use or industrial heating that the problem of thermal pollution can be mitigated. Okay, so let's talk about the issues on thermal pollution and noise pollution. You might not realize this, but these pollutions are more common than you think. Especially noise pollution, since it can happen anywhere. Even in your own household, noise pollution can happen. Since noise pollution is defined as sounds that disturb and cause harm to humans and animals, even the sound of a loudspeaker can be classified as noise pollution. And since now is the pandemic and we are now in quarantine, most of us might experience this every day due to the lifestyle. Some of us might even be at risk of hearing loss, since some of us live in a noisy household. At least the exposure to loud noise is not as much as before. Based on a research, during 2018, Guangzhou, China, ranked as having the worst level of noise pollution in the world, followed by Cairo, Paris, Beijing and Delhi. One of the 50 cities, Zurich was found to have the least noise pollution. Participants in Delhi recorded the highest average hearing loss, equivalent to someone 19.34 years older than them. Vienna, on the other hand, had the lowest hearing loss, but still on average, that's someone of 10.59 years older. Henrik Matthijs, Managing Director of Mimi Hearing Technology, said, We were able to collect quite a unique hearing data warehouse on hearing abilities across countries and continents. There is an obvious known correlation between being exposed to noise and decreased hearing ability. However, mapping this correlation to cities helped us to get the message out, sparking a debate about noise pollution and hearing in megacities like Hong Kong and Delhi. Other than that, there is a study that found out that on average, a person living in the loudest city has hearing loss equivalent to that of someone 10 to 20 years older. Overall, the results show a 64% correlation between hearing loss and noise pollution. So, what I understand about this situation is, since living in a big city means being surrounded by advanced technologies which produce loud sounds. Loud sounds can really affect the human health, mostly in our ear, more specifically in our cochlea. Loud noise is particularly harmful to the inner ear, which is cochlea. A one-time exposure to extreme loud sound or listening to loud sounds for a long time can cause hearing loss. Loud noise can damage cells and membranes in the cochlea. Listening to loud sounds for a long time can overwork hair cells in the ear, which can cause these cells to die. The hearing loss progresses as long as the exposure continues. Harmful effects might continue even after noise exposure has stopped. The damage to the inner ear or auditory neural system is generally permanent. The average person is born with about 16,000 hair cells within their cochlea. These cells allow your brain to detect sound. Up to 30% to 50% of hair cells can be damaged or destroyed before changes in your hearing can be measured by a hearing test. But by the time you notice hearing loss, many hair cells have been destroyed and cannot be repaired. Repeated exposures to loud noises will over time destroy many hair cells and can gradually reduce the ability to understand speech in noisy places. Eventually, if hearing loss continues, it can become hard to understand speech even in quieter places. In addition to damaging hair cells, noise can also damage the auditory nerve that carries information about sounds to your brain. Early damage may not show up on your hearing test. It can create a hidden hearing loss that make it difficult for you to understand speech in noisy places. The effect of loud noise over time affects how well you might hear later in life. It also affects how quickly you might develop hearing problems, even after exposure has stopped. So, in conclusion, we need to be aware of our situation, mostly in noisy places, in order to prevent from having permanent damage in our ear.